We'll break down one of the big questions you should be asking after Skeleton Crew on today's Star Wars video. Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. This one's sponsored by the new Eckhart's Ladder merch store. Hey, we got some cool stuff on there. Look at this cute sticker. Look at this very nice shirt. Anyway, this question comes from Beowulf, who says, do you think there's a reason why the pirate ships in Skeleton Crew and the Cumulus-class Corsair and the Mandalorian all have the same dark gray and white tiger stripe paint job? Are they somehow connected? And that's a great question. Mandalorian Season 3, of course, features Gorian Shard's pirate gang. His vessel was the Cumulus-class Corsair, which, by the way, I've done an entire breakdown on if you're interested in. In Skeleton Crew, we have the as-of-yet unnamed massive pirate ship captained by Silvo / Jodwick / Crimson Jack / Jod Nunnawood. And yeah, they both have this matching gray camo tiger stripe paint job, which would not honestly look out of place on a Call of Duty weapon. What's more, in episode 3 of the Skeleton Crew, especially during the escape scenes, you can see that there are many other ships, all presumably of the pirate variety, which have this exact same paint job. But we've got further proof of connection as well. In episode 7 of Skeleton Crew, we see that the pirates also use the exact same starfighter model as Gorian Shard's gang does in Mando Season 3. What's more, one character, Vane specifically, moves back and forth between the two crews. So, are the pirates connected? Well, it's certainly possible. And in fact, The Mandalorian Season 3 actually hints at the fact that pirates may be doing more in the galaxy than we realize. At the beginning of the second to final episode of The Mandalorian Season 3, there's that big scene where Gideon is speaking to the other Imperial warlords. And while everyone remembers, of course, Pelion and his glorious mustache, let's think back to what happened right before that call. Elia Kane reports to Gideon that the pirate operation on Navarro has failed due to pushback from the Mandalorians. And it seems clear to me, given the fact that during the Moffrents, we later hear about raiding hyperspace lanes, that the Empire is actually using pirates from across the galaxy directly to wreak havoc within the New Republic. Now, this is most likely a mutually beneficial setup where the Empire may even be providing these pirates with resources or starfighters. The pirates then go on to mess up shipping and commerce for the New Republic. They get to keep their plunder while the Empire watches the New Republic continually be destabilized. This wouldn't be the type of thing which would kill the New Republic, but it would hurt them in a critical time as they're trying to rebuild the galaxy. So it's very possible that these vessels are provided by the Empire, hence the similar paint jobs, or that generally they're flying under the same flag. Again, I think that would be a good explanation. However, there's also some evidence here to the contrary. Well, it's indisputable that some pirates are working with Gideon and the Empire, and that there's definitely some connection between the different gangs. The paint job itself is not necessarily a slam dunk. Look at, for example, the Onyx Cinder, a ship which had been buried on At-Aten since certainly before the Battle of Endor. The Onyx Cinder in its pirate phase has the exact same paint job, leading me to believe that it's probably the Star Wars universe equivalent to the Skull and Bones paint job. Maybe there's an agreement generally among pirate groups that you don't compete, or you don't raid each other at least. Although undoubtedly pirates would have been throwing hands against each other all the time. I mean, even within a single vessel, the pirates are trying to kill and usurp one another. Certainly the gangs would have been fighting. However, I do still think there's a secret to uncover, or a secret which will eventually be revealed to us. I don't think it's a coincidence that Vane was in both The Mandalorian and Skeleton Crew, and that he's shown to operate across the galaxy, nor do I think the character of Gorian Shard should be completely written off. In the premiere of The Mandalorian Season 3, i.e. Chapter 17, we've got that scene where Vane is trying to drink in what, unbeknownst to him, was no longer a bar, but instead a school. We then learn, and I quote, "It was your cut of my boss's treasure which built this saloon." In hindsight, watching the scene back, it almost seems like after that, Greef Karga's deflecting somewhat. He says, Pirate King Gorian Shard's name is familiar to all in this sector. So, Gorian Shard and his gang of pirates have been involved on Navarro in some capacity for a long time. maybe in an uneasy relationship with the bounty hunting guild, maybe doing their own thing completely. It's hard to say whether these open hostilities would have eventually come to fruition without the influence of the Empire. Certainly, Grief Karga was trying to make the area more respectable, however, the pirates also went down to the planet itching for a fight. Either way, it wasn't always like that, and I bring this up because the Mandalorian's greatest question is still arguably what was going on before episode 1. I've got to give a shout out to Malfra. He's asked this following question many times with the hashtag AskEck. Basically, why do I think the pirates kept Grogu, considering there was obviously a bounty on him? He mentions the possibility that maybe Mando was kind of like kidnapping him from pirates who were just raising him, and that certainly is a possibility. However, I think knowing what we do now about Gorian Shard's presence in Navarro and sort of the greater activity going on throughout the galaxy, that question honestly just becomes more interesting, and unfortunately I don't have an answer. You could say, oh, we know the connection between the Empire and the pirates exists, so maybe the Empire was the one holding him? Probably not, considering it was their bounty which sets off the events of the entire series. But it's an interesting question, and with The Mandalorian and Grogu, a film, being a thing which apparently is going to happen, well, we might learn more about the underworld and what's really going on. With that being said, because this video was a little short, I will end with a hashtag AskEck. This one comes from Rocket Couch, who says, what do Star Destroyers have for recreational spaces on board? For a ship the size of a city, one would expect there to be something, but I'm wondering if there's anything in your experience that can go into more detail on what comforts an Imperial officer or even NCM can expect on their deployment. This is a good question. I will say, if you want to learn more on the topic, I recommend you check out books like Lost Stars. I think the original New Canon Thrawn book has some stuff about what's on a Star Destroyer. Generally, however, there were cantinas. Given that the deployment would have been for extremely long periods of time, there also would have been gyms and recreation spaces. And I can't remember if it is Lost Stars or maybe Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad, which goes in the fact that, of all places, the Death Star was actually a really good place to be deployed, simply because there was so much space that there were a ton of things to do. I'm trying to remember the scene, but it's like the Star Destroyer stopping at the Death Star, and this is why I think it was probably Lost Stars, is basically like a mini vacation, like shore leave almost, because it's an entire planet. Also, if you really want to learn more about what large Imperial facilities were like, read the novel Death Star. It's a ton of fun. Legends only. Last time I looked, it was kind of hard to get a copy, but check your local library or actually just buy one. Anyway, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon, and may the Force be with you.